Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I just want to make some videos to help you stay on task so that you can watch these videos. This chapter here we've done covered. We've done covered this standard, but I want to go back over it to kind of refresh your memory going forward. This gives you another opportunity, another resource that you can use to continue your education on for the rest of the school year, on into the summer. You can watch these videos anytime after this is fine also. So that's what these are here for. Now, the standard we're going to cover today is standard number 1, which is compare influences of ancient Greece, the Roman Republic, Judeo-Christian tradition, the Magna Carta, federalism, the Mayflower Compact, the English Bill of Rights, the House of Burgesses, and the Petition of Rights on the government of the United States. Now, I'm not going to cover all those in this lesson today. This one is going to analyze what civics is and the role that it plays in society. Number 2, describe the origins of democracy. Number 3, evaluate the importance of the government in everyday lives. Talk a little bit about the history of the United States, but that'll mostly come in the next chapter. So, I'm just going to do this. It's going to be a set of 10 videos, one for each chapter. Some of the chapters we got to, some of the chapters we did not. So, let's go ahead and get started. What is civics? Civics is the study of the rights and duties of citizens. Now, citizenship goes back 2,500 years to ancient Greece and Rome and was limited to men to own property. Even in the beginnings of our own country, it was limited to men to own property. That was kind of the way it was set up. The mentality behind that, even though it was outdated, and later, of course, it would be changed to include women and who didn't own property. Anybody who was a citizen later on would be anyone that was considered, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes, but it was limited to men that own property, and citizens are people that have certain rights and duties. That's what a citizen is. Now, what are American citizens? The United States Constitution defines an American citizen as anyone born or naturalized in the United States. The Constitution defines the 2 ways to be a U.S. citizen are to be born in the United States or be a foreigner who chooses to become a citizen. And if you choose to become a citizen and you're not born a citizen, you go through the process of naturalization, which is a legal process by which people become citizens. So that's the idea. You're an American citizen either by being born an American citizen or going through the process of naturalization, what we call legal citizenship, becoming a legal U.S. citizen through the naturalization process, and that's the 2 ways to be a U.S. citizen. Now, just a few things about the early settlers. Now, of course, it's believed that the earliest settlers that came to the United States, of course, were the Native Americans, which came over, it's believed, on the Bering Strait land bridge, and the way it kind of worked was that what happened was that during the last great ice age, the water level was lower, and so it formed a land bridge up in the Bering Strait, which is connecting to Russia and Alaska. It's believed that the natives came up from there, came down into the North American continent, spread out through the North American continent, some went down to South America, and that's kind of how it's believed the Native Americans got there. Now, the debate really comes about who comes next. Of course, it's early, up until the last 15, 20 years, it's really been pushed that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Now, of course, that's questionable. Some people believe that the Vikings came first. Some people believe the Chinese did. Some people believe that there were some Jews that did. Whatever. Christopher Columbus did land in the area that it was become the Bahamas. His legacy is, you can take it and leave it whatever you want it to be. But up until the mid-1900s, most immigrants came from Europe. The earliest settlers from Europe came from Spain during the 1500s and occupied the area that is now Florida, California, and the Southwest, which can still feel their influence. Some of the early settlers are Christopher Columbus, which landed in the Bahamas, like I said, Ponce de Leon, which landed in Florida, or La Florida, and Father Junipero Sierra, which founded the first Catholic missions in Las Californias. And so these are some of the early settlers that landed in not the United States, landed in the North American continent, through Florida, the Bahamas, and California. In the 1600s, settlers from France and England came to North America. The French settled in Canada and around the Mississippi River, especially Louisiana. Now, what happens is they set up in an area that is Quebec. They have French territory up there. During the French and Indian War, you see that the British and the French are fighting against each other. The British are able to drive the French out during that period of time, and some will go back down the Mississippi River and kind of stay in Louisiana, and that would be the early descendants of or the early ancestors of the Cajun people today. The English settled along the east coast of the United States, forming the 13 original colonies. Now, of course, that's typical American history. The 13 original colonies. After the United States gained its independence, it became known throughout Europe as the land of promise, encouraging more people to immigrate. About 22 million immigrants arrived between 1890 and 1924, with most coming from southern and eastern Europe. During the last 50 years, the number of immigrants from Europe have lagged, with Latin America being the area with the largest foreign newcomers. So in the last 50 years, there's more newcomers from Latin America than are from Europe. But from the beginning of the United States history, we'll just go back to that, until the last 50 years, it was mostly European settlers, people from Germany, Ireland, Scotland, England, Spain, places like that. Some of the earliest immigrants to the United States were not willing, and these were the Western and Central Africans that were taken from their home and sold as slaves. They were sold into slavery in the Caribbean and North and South America. Some 500,000 people were brought to this country this way. Now, of course, we know about the slave trade, the North Atlantic Passage, very dark, terrible history in American history, or a part of American history, but it is a part of American history. That a lot of these slaves were brought because they had settled especially in the Caribbean, with sugar plantations and things like that. And then, of course, especially in the southern part of the United States, with the ports in Charleston and on and down to Georgia, they developed some plantations also that would last on into the period of Civil War, where, of course, you have the 13th Amendment, you have freeing of the slaves, and all this kind of stuff. And so I would lead up into that point. So that's where I'm going to stop for this video. Just kind of tell you a little bit about civics, what civics is, a little bit about the history going back to Rome and Greece. That, of course, is where democracy started, was in Greece. Rome had the first real republic. With the Roman Republic, they had a senate, they had consuls and people that was, like, it was a tripartite government. It was a three-part government that we have today. And so we base a lot of our history of civics off of the Romans and the Greeks, which developed a form of democracy. Theirs was a more direct democracy, where ours is more of a representative democracy. They would vote directly on everything. We elect people to represent us in government. So that's a little bit different from that. So that being said, let's get. I want to leave y'all with this little bit of a thought. We're in the 2020 election season right now. I don't feel like it with all this quarantine stuff. It feels like there's nothing going on but the coronavirus right now. But I promise you, this too shall pass, and we will have an election in November. And now it has been pretty much determined that the two main candidates that's going to be running for president is Donald Trump for the Republicans and Joe Biden for the Democrats. Now, pay attention to some of this stuff. Turn on the news a little bit. I know it can be a little bit depressing. I know there's a lot of coronavirus talk. Tune in to watch some videos on YouTube, but make sure that they're not biased. Make sure that they tell you the truth and that it's not swayed one way or the other. Learn a little bit about the candidates. Learn a little bit about the history of Donald Trump and Joe Biden, what they've done, what they believe, what they stand for. You're not going to be able to vote in the election this time because you're in 7th grade. but eventually they're going to be able to vote. It's good to pay attention to politics now and know how things work, know how our people get elected to government, and we'll have lessons covering that a little bit later on. So just pay attention to that kind of stuff. Also remember that you can still be watching CNN 10. You can pull it up on YouTube at CNN 10. Just pull it up on YouTube. I think Carl Zeus is doing it from his house or somewhere right now. So pull that up. Watch the videos of it. See what's going on in the world based off of that. We used to watch it in class every day. Pay attention. You can watch it at home, and they still are doing it even though schools are out. So that being said, have a great night and stay well, stay healthy. I hope to see you soon. I miss all of you, and I am excited to get back together with you soon and continue to teach you more stuff. So until then, good night.